before I even get close to marriage. And I mentioned being married and having children only if it has been ordained by God, that I must first be the bride of the groom. My commitment to Christ is a reflection of every other relationship I am or will be involved in. So perhaps Maya Angelou quote best captures my sentiments. A woman should be so hidden in God that he has to go through him to get to her. Again, a woman should be so hidden in God that a man has to go through him to get to her. So in conclusion, if God has ordained for someone to get married, they will be. But the goal is to be hidden in God. So, fellas, you want a woman that you have to go through God to get. If you have to go through Satan, that's bad business. And you know what? You're not gonna have to go through Satan because Satan gonna give her to you. He might bring her to your doorstep for you. He wants you to be in bondage. But if you have to go through God, that's something worth. That's a woman worth considering. Now, I'm not saying that every woman you have to go through God to get to, because sometimes friendships, God protects you through friendships too, because He's gonna say, she's my daughter. I don't want any unrighteous friendships. So I'm not saying everybody that God has to give the okay to, it's gonna be your wife, but you want somebody you have to go through God. You want to make sure that God's gonna look at you and say, "Hey, how you doing? How you look? Hey, turn around. Let me see. How you looking? Are you in good shape?" You want that, and for women, you want a man that has to go through God, because God is not going to match his unrighteous son with a righteous daughter, or and vice versa. He doesn't work that way. So if a man went through God, then that means he has the characteristics, the attributes of God. That's the plan. You want to say, "Oh, did he go through God?" If you didn't go through my father, and my father does not know you, I don't want to know you neither. That's how I look at it. So I think it's definitely a beautiful experience. But even if I never get married, I'm truly content with seeking God, because God fulfills everything. And it may sound far-fetched, especially if you're trying to think about it from a carnal mind, but if you don't understand what I'm saying, truly ask God to open up your mind, because like I said, marriage, I was thinking, no. But now I just really realize how beautiful it is. And even if I never get married, I want to see things good and that are beautiful in the same way that God sees them. That's my plan. I want to have the same viewpoint as God. If I don't see it the way God sees it, my process has to go. So in that process, I'm not finding a husband. A man who found a wife found a great thing. We look with the world, society, our generation has switched things. The women, they go to the club looking for a man, things of that nature. The women say, "I need to find me a man." That's backward. That means the woman is becoming a man and the man is becoming a woman. So, but there's definitely something special in the life of singleness. God has things for you to do. He might have things for you and your husband to do and being single, and then bring you together and do more work. But if you're not ready single, you won't be ready. So even now, as God preparing me, regardless if I ever get married on earth, I'm already the bride of the groom. So it'll almost kind of be like being married twice. And the man who I would want to be married with to will really have the characteristics and attributes of Christ. So it'll almost be kind of like being married to God twice. So the gentleman that you want, the man that you, all those things, it comes through God. God is the ultimate gentleman. So it's kind of like, if I get a husband and he's a gentleman, that's going to be the Christ shining through him. Because if God isn't in him, then Satan is in him. And he's not going to be a gentleman. And the same thing for a female. Guys, if you want this elegant woman who's virtuous and genuine, things like that, you're going to see that shining through her, because God had given it to her. That's a characteristic. Because if not, she's going to be a whore. The spirit of Jezebel. So the goal is to seek God and to first be the bride of the groom, and then everything else will fall into place. Even if he calls you to a life of singleness, he still is gonna fulfill your heart. You can go to a house of 100 married couples and still feel as complete, if not more. The life you live before you're married falls over. If you're not happy, content, and love with God before, you're gonna be miserable and lonely after you get married. No one on earth going to change that whole being happy. You might be on a honeymoon for a little while, spend some money over some gifts. Doesn't last long. So I just say all this to say that I pray that God just prepares me for whatever He has, that I fall in love with Him first. That's the prerequisite for everything in life. To fall in love with Christ for yourself. And in conclusion, if God has ordained for me to be married, I pray that my husband is being patient, just the way I am, because God isn't finished with me yet. So I will wait for you.